Over the past 6 years, Timothee Chalamet has transformed from an unknown actor into the leading young star of global cinema. He successfully portrays characters in both independent films and blockbuster spectacles. Fans are captivated by his refined facial features and curls, while outstanding filmmakers consistently praise Chalamet's professional mastery.
Timothée is one of the best actors of his generation, if not the best.
Because he's amazing. He's such a brilliant actor.
And he just, a natural film actor.
But what exactly impresses directors about him? What are the criteria for his acting skills? And why do some scenes with him become unforgettable? In this video, we will explore the iconic moments in his filmography and attempt to understand whether Timothee Chalamet is indeed a talented actor.
I'm naked, Mrs. Kremens.
I can see that.
Please turn away. I feel shy about my new muscles.
Timothee Chalamet was born in New York in 1995. Growing up in a creative family in the heart of Manhattan's skyscraper-filled artist community, he and his older sister, Pauline, were surrounded by neighbors who spent hours singing and dancing in preparation for their roles. It's not surprising that as he grew older, Chalamet decided to enroll in the prestigious LaGuardia High School of Music and Art. The release of Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight in 2008 had a significant influence on his career choice.
This is amazing. Who is Heath Ledger? This is like, I want to do this.
One of his standout student works was the musical Sweet Charity, where Chalamet played a claustrophobic clerk stuck in an elevator. His performance was praised by his mentor, who claimed to have never seen a more brilliant comedic performance in his entire life.
But if you thought we were trapped in here, what would you say?
But we're not trapped.
If you thought we were, what would you say?
Well then, I'd say we really were trapped.
In 2016, still relatively unknown, Chalamet portrayed a gifted but reckless student in Prodigal Son, earning critical acclaim. According to director John Patrick Shanley, Chalamet left an impression of someone who could either hit you or write a poem.
Why do I have to listen to you when you have zero to say? Because I'm young? All my life I've been young, so I never get a turn.
However, in the early 2010s, Chalamet received only minor roles in film and television. In the spy series Homeland, he played the spoiled offspring of the vice president.
She needs our help.
No, I do, all right? I need our help. I was driving, not you. This comes down on me. And swear to God, I'd rather die than have my father find out. If you say anything about this, I'm dead. I mean it.
In Interstellar, he portrayed an ordinary, scruffy teenager. You might not recall, but Chalamet briefly appears in the legendary scene with a tearful Matthew McConaughey.
Oh. I met another girl, Dad. I really think this is the one. Her name's Lois. It's her right there.
The actor understood that he was part of a future classic, but was disappointed that his role turned out to be so small.
And I saw it and I loved it, but then I went home to my dad and I like wept for an hour.
Why?
Because I just figured my part was like bigger or something.
Among Timothee Chalamet's early works, the standout is the indie dramedy Miss Stevens, where he played the role of a withdrawn high school student Billy, passionate about theater and his teacher. In the climactic explosive scene, the actor channels all the teenage anger and pain of his character into a 3-minute monologue from Death of a Salesman, performed on stage.
Why am I trying to become what I don't want to be? What am I doing in an office making a contemptuous, begging fool of myself when all that I want is out there, waiting for me the second I say I know who I am?
According to Timothee, the actor's main instrument is his open heart, the ability to be extremely sincere and vulnerable. He decided to showcase these qualities in the sensual, sun-drenched, and joyful film by Luca Guadagnino, Call Me By Your Name. His character, the fragile and tender youth Elio, living in 1980s Italy, experiences the full intensity, awkwardness, and power of first love and first heartbreak. Unlike his debut works, the actor had the opportunity to convey the character's feelings, not through intense emotional outbursts and raised voices, but through much subtler means, using attentive, studying glances and body language. His confusion and yearning for closeness become almost palpable. Due to his theatrical background, the actor feels more comfortable in long shots, that create the effect of continuous action. This way, he doesn't feel constrained by boundaries and can dynamically portray the inner life of the character. This is most evident in the 4-minute confession scene, where Elio first decides to hint at his feelings and then regrets his openness.
Shouldn't have said anything.
Just pretend you never did.
Or does that mean we're on speaking terms, but not really?
It means we can't talk about those kinds of things. Okay?
Another example is the long final shot, where the silent Elio recalls the summer romance, experiencing the overwhelming pain, joy, and sadness. Chalamet's ability to handle this complex task was aided by his subtle trickery, unnoticed by the audience.
We had the song in advance. I literally have the song playing in my ear as we're doing it because I had a little earpiece, so you know, there was an ability to kind of chart out. It felt like an acting exercise or something, just to kind of channel whatever was happening in the song at that moment.
For his breakthrough role in Call Me By Your Name, 22-year-old Timothee Chalamet received an Oscar nomination, competing in the same category with iconic figures like Denzel Washington, Gary Oldman, and Daniel Day-Lewis. After Guadagnino's masterpiece, the rising star gained massive popularity, comparable to the Leonardo DiCaprio craze of the 90s. Partly, this popularity is explained by how naturally and convincingly Chalamet portrays feelings on screen, familiar to any viewer, especially teenagers. For instance, in the cozy Christmas-themed Little Women by Greta Gerwig, he played the lonely romantic Laurie, whose unrequited love confession breaks hearts.
I gave up billiards, I gave up everything you didn't like, I'm happy I did, it's fine, and I waited, and I never complained, because I figured you'd love me, Joe.
At the same time, the actor brought not only strong emotions, but also amusing details to the film. For example, he suggested that in this uninspired episode, his character wouldn't sit, but rather stand on a chair. This touch helped enliven the scene and emphasize Laurie's free-spirited nature. Also, notice that unlike other men, Chalamet's character does not wear a jacket. He refused to wear it, considering it too formal for a youth who doesn't fit into societal norms. The actor has always been attentive to the wardrobes of his characters, and in films with him, clothing often carries special significance. In Call Me By Your Name, Elio wears Oliver's shirt, and in Little Women, Laurie exchanges items with Joe. In both cases, this symbolizes the closeness between the characters, and in films with Timothee, you can find many similarities. Due to his age and acting psychophysics, he mostly plays young intellectuals in coming-of-age novels. Still, he manages to make his characters distinct from each other. Through expressive facial expressions and flexibility, the actor creates different personalities. Look at these three young people. You only need 5 seconds to distinguish the brooding heartbreaker, the romantic neurotic, and the awkward outsider. Often, you can observe physical transformation in one film. Compare, for example, how in Hot Summer Nights, the timid and insecure Danny moves, and how he transforms by the end.
Hey, whoa, shit, swallower, take a step back.
In The Dark the King, based on Shakespeare's plays, the task was much more challenging, to show how a dissolute and perennially drunk prince involuntarily becomes the leader of the state, strong, confident, and ruthless.
Fight not for yourselves, fight for that space! Fill that space! Make it tissue! Make it mass! Make it impenetrable! Make it yours! Make it England!
In Beautiful Boy, the actor had to show the difference between the happy student Nick, raised in a loving family, and the drug-addicted person destroying his life, growing further away from his relatives.
I don't want your fucking help, don't you understand that? No, you don't. Jesus Christ, then what the fuck is wrong with you then, huh? What the hell is wrong with you people? No, you fucking suffocate me! You fucking suffocate me!
Chalamet is selective in choosing projects, but he doesn't chase himself to roles that rely solely on physical sacrifices, pushing himself to exhaustion or gaining weight for flashy roles.
I think it's really cool when an actor can shapeshift. And certainly you don't want to play versions of yourself. But what's the coolest is when an audience can see like real humanity on screen and really like learn about themselves or something rather than, oh wow, look at that guy go.
However, this doesn't mean that Timothee restricts himself only to working with the psychology of the character. For the role, he learned Italian, took piano lessons, thoroughly prepared for combat scenes, and honed a British accent. And once, for Beautiful Boy, he had to go on a diet and lose 8 kilograms.
How could you lose weight?
I know.
What did you
I know, that's
do?
what I said to him. I was like, well, I am skinny, sir. And he was like, but you must be skinnier.
By the beginning of the 2020s, Chalamet had acquired the status of one of the best actors of his generation and seamlessly integrated into major ensemble films featuring Hollywood's top stars. In 2021, Chalamet had the opportunity to lead a blockbuster, the monumental sci-fi epic Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve. The film revolves around young Paul Atreides, who finds himself on the perilous desert planet Arrakis, the only source of spice, the most valuable substance in the universe. One of the film's most powerful scenes is the trial by pain that Paul undergoes. Chalamet was required to convey the unbearable physical anguish of the protagonist in close-up. It was after shooting this scene that Denis Villeneuve was finally convinced he had not made a mistake in choosing the actor.
At the beginning, Paul is a boy struggling with his identity, but will slowly become later in the story a messianic figure. So you need to have someone that has a rock star character.
This, perhaps, is a distinctive trait of Chalamet from his early years, an angelic, romantic exterior, combined with the ability to portray the tragic and dark inner worlds of characters. In real life, Timothée blends the glamour of a Hollywood movie star with the endearing awkwardness of a shy intellectual. He appears to relish the fame and consistently surprises with his appearances on red carpets, showcasing a variety of unique styles. The actor not only transforms perceptions of men's fashion, but also symbolizes a new form of masculinity, characterized by softness and sensitivity rather than strength and power. Despite his fame, he remains true to himself, blushing, slouching, encountering awkward situations, and constantly impressing colleagues with unexpectedly profound answers to questions about the burden of fame.
You know, like the fame and whatnot?
No, I mean, no, and I think life is best lived surreally anyway, so it's all.
I like that.
Yeah,
Or his belief in destiny.
You could be the master of your fate, you could be the captain of your soul, but you have to realize that life is coming from you and not at you, and that takes time.
His career successfully unfolds in two directions. He avoids the conventional path of superhero films or franchises, opting for unconventional blockbusters by talented directors or understated, yet bold stories, such as a road movie about love-struck cannibals. In the musical fantasy Wonka, Chalamet revisits his theatrical past and once again proves his talent for comedic roles. At 27, the actor possesses all the attributes of a major star and the potential to become the Leonardo DiCaprio or Robert Pattinson of his generation. He doesn't settle for being merely a sex symbol, but continues to surprise us with deep, unexpected dramatic performances. It seems that Timothée Chalamet's greatest successes are still ahead. We only need to observe how he will further unfold his potential for transformation and talent in selecting intriguing projects. We are confident that we will see the actor in entirely new roles, united by his nuanced performances and open, vulnerable heart.
Timothée Chalamet has single-handedly ushered in the twink renaissance of Hollywood, but behind his rise is a secret strategy. And today, we're taking it apart, starting with the time when Chalamet had 0 acting credits. By luck or by design, Chalamet avoided the one mistake that most aspiring actors and musicians make. They overthink and overplan their strategy at the beginning. Chalamet started doing things before he thought them through, so his beginnings were pretty random. He was a DIY YouTuber.
It's good YouTube, this is Modded Controller 360.
A YouTube skit actor, and a bunch of other things before he was a TV actor. And in fact, when he started appearing on TV, he was still not sure whether he would pursue acting as a full-time job. See, Timothée Chalamet could have been a horrible failure if he had picked something other than acting. A big part of his success is finding the right thing for him, which is acting. It seems obvious now, but back then, Timothée Chalamet was more interested in becoming a rapper. It is a tragedy that that banger never got a Grammy, and this one never went platinum.
My day is Timmy Tim, pull up your pants. Voulez-vous shit, I think my way just from France.
Most actors and musicians start their journey after getting passionate about something, which limits them. Timothée started doing a bunch of different things before he got really passionate about any one of them. And that allowed him to take the next step, which is necessary if you want to be world-class at anything. Double down on your gift. Because Chalamet was broad and experimental early on, he got a realistic view of his own talents, so he could see that his acting was received better than his raps. Then he made one move that he owes the rest of his success to. He started doing more of what he was good at instead of what he was passionate about. Chalamet didn't fall in love with acting until 2012, but he was already on TV in 2009 appearing in an episode of Law & Order. You wouldn't recognize him because A, he was 13 at the time, and B, he was on screen for 30 seconds before his character was pew-pewed off screen. He also got another role in a CBS TV movie Loving Leah for a grand total of 30 seconds. It was in 2012 that Heath Ledger's Joker inspired Chalamet to become a full-time actor. So he was auditioning for roles 2 years before he got passionate about acting. And that aligns perfectly with Professor Cal Newport's view of work and passion. Newport believes that follow your passion is bad advice because genuine passion comes from getting good at something. So you should follow what you can get good at and you will develop a passion for it. But passion and skills won't take you very far unless you have the next ingredient: relationships. Timothee Chalamet invested a lot of energy in cultivating deep and meaningful relationships with senior actors and directors. He could have been like any other actor and could have outsourced all of that to his agent, but Timothee took it upon himself to personally connect with any senior actor he shared the screen with. When he had a small role in Don't Look Up, he got career advice from Leonardo DiCaprio. And when he was shooting for Beautiful Boy, he asked Steve Carell for advice. By design or by luck, this made him stand out in the eyes of established actors because young actors rarely ask for advice unless it's about where to get coke. Timothee's desire to get advice from anyone and everyone he respected ended up having an unintentional consequence. It started generating industry buzz that Timothee Chalamet was a once-in-a-generation talent. Because once you give someone advice, you don't want to see them fail. Actors started talking about Timothee and directors started paying attention.
He came in that first day and I met him and I thought, this is just a great guy. Obviously a fantastically talented actor, but beyond that, you know, just smart and funny and likable.
Timothee gave us all so much comedic relief.
He would say the most random stuff I've ever. It was incredible.
One of his career inspirations, Leo DiCaprio, has a famous long-running relationship with director Martin Scorsese, who first directed him when he was just 28 years old. Chalamet took a page out of DiCaprio's playbook but made it better by building relationships with multiple directors at the age of 18. He acted in 2 movies for Greta Gerwig back when she was an art house film director. Today, Gerwig is a big-budget director best known for the Barbie movie. Another one of Timothee's relationships actually allowed him to break into Hollywood. So here is the story behind Timothee Chalamet's first big break. In 2012, Timothee was on the show Homeland. Also on Homeland was Damian Lewis, who took a liking to Chalamet, which led to Damian's agent Brian Swordstrom meeting Timothee. What Timothee did not know was that Swordstrom's husband, Peter Spears, was producing the movie that would give Timothee his first big break.
My husband is an agent and represents Damian Lewis, who was on the show Homeland, which Timothee was on. And he had gone to the set to visit Damian and in the process met Timothee at lunch and called me that night and said, I think I met Elio Perlman today. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, this kid, he's you know, has a recurring role on the show, but I'm telling you, he's, you know, French and American, he plays piano, and you just have to meet him.
The movie's producer was the husband of Timothee's agent, but he was looking to make Call Me By Your Name since 2007, 5 years before Timothee got serious about acting. So he wasn't just going to hand the main role to his husband's least experienced client. And casting decisions were up to the director anyway. The best Brian Swordstrom could do for Timothee was get him a meeting with the film's director, Luca Guadagnino. Fortunately for Timothee, Luca loved him. He was impressed by how articulate and passionate Chalamet was, so he decided then and there that whenever the film gets made, Timothee will be his Elio Perlman. It took roughly 4 years to start filming the movie. Chalamet could have aged out of that role, but lucky for him, he did not. And during that time, he did plenty of old school auditions for directors he was unknown to. He got rejected by Marvel, and he got rejected by Tim Burton. He did get a role in Interstellar, where he acted his heart out, only to see that his most important scene didn't feature much of his face.
Hey, Dad. Check it in.
And when his face was shown, it was on a small screen. You cried during that scene because it was emotional. Timothy cried because his role was so small.
And I saw it and I loved it, but then I went home to my dad and I like wept for an hour.
Why?
Because I just figured my part was like bigger or something. I don't know.
But what Chalamet did not know was that Luca Guadagnino, who he had met in 2012, was watching his work very carefully. And when he started shooting Call Me By Your Name, he gave Timothy the role without an audition. And Chalamet's performance in that role got him an Oscar nomination at the age of 22, making him the youngest Academy Award nominee in 78 years. This was the most important point in Timothy's career, because one wrong move here could have consequences for decades. Chalamet had never had this much attention and leverage, and any actor in his position would have raised their asking price. But Timothy understood that the more you raise your price, the less say you have in the movies you do. So he did not use his leverage for a quick cash grab. Instead, he used it to get selective about the roles he did. Timothy's career was beginning, yet coming full circle at the same time. When he started, he was super open to pretty much anything. But overnight, he found himself in a different phase. He had to say no more often than yes. And what he said yes to is what got him here. Pretty much every movie that he signed before his Oscar nomination had him in the role of the son. Of course, some roles were more prominent and central than others, but he was the son more than he was his own character. But after the Oscar nomination, he took a very different role, that of King Henry in David Michael's historical epic, The King.
All men are born to die, we know it. We carry it with us always. If your day be today, so be it. Mine will be tomorrow.
This role allowed Timothy to literally grow up on screen. King Henry V, whose life that film is based on, ascended when he was 26 years old. So The King was the perfect role for Timothée Chalamet because he could play the prince growing into the shoes of the king. And it was pretty believable. Chalamet also sang Greta Gerwig's Little Women, where he was not the main lead, but he was the main romantic interest. And this is where he went from adorable to sexy. Because if Florence Pugh finds you hot on screen, you can be damn sure that everyone else finds you hot off screen. Timothy also signed bigger budget films, but only the ones with directors he believed in. And that's so important. He could have passed on The French Dispatch because of how small his role would be, but he valued acting for Wes Anderson more than he valued getting central roles. And this attitude, alongside his acting chops, got him the role of a lifetime in Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Timothy was Villeneuve's only choice for the role of Paul Atreides, the main lead who has to go from being a space duke's son to a major leading figure in the story. Chalamet had previously played the reluctant prince becoming a warrior king in David Michael's The King. At this point, Timothy's old work was becoming his calling card. Another director, Paul King, cast Chalamet as a young Willy Wonka after seeing his range in Call Me By Your Name and Lady Bird. Seeing that he could be super emotional but also goofy made Paul King want to cast him. Upon researching Timothy, King found footage of his high school musical performances. And that was it. King was sold, and Timothy did not need to audition for the role. And his performances in Dune and Wonka shot his star even higher. Today, Timothée Chalamet is the face of new Hollywood. He has great relationships with directors he believes in, and his mainstream demand is growing with each performance. By all means, Chalamet is to this generation what Leo DiCaprio and James Dean were to their generations.
By far, the biggest heartthrob of today is Timothée Chalamet. He's the acting prodigy with the looks to back it up. But does his outside persona really match who he is? Find out on this episode of Classic Charm. If you don't know him already, Timothée Chalamet is what people are calling the next Leonardo DiCaprio. He's dating Johnny Depp's daughter, Lily Rose Depp. He was nominated for Best Actor in the Academy Awards for the movie Call Me By Your Name, and ever since then has been the movie industry's golden child. He has this look that makes women go wild. Perhaps it's the model-esque features like the razor-sharp cheekbones or the naturally hazy bedroom eyes. And why does he get to have dinner with Kid Cudi and Kanye West? But let's peel back the layers of this seemingly flawless new superstar. What makes him tick? Is it just his looks, or is there something more to it? If you're new to this channel by now, I spend a lot of time, and I mean a lot, analyzing the world's most charming men. And my analysis for Timothy was no different. First, I want to demystify Timothy's crazy attractiveness. Along with his stellar acting, Timothy is especially known for his impeccable sense of style. Every award show, he seems to outdo himself and stun the world with his sartorial choices. Coincidentally, the day after one of his biggest award show appearances, I was sitting with my girlfriend at a Venice restaurant when guess who walks right next to my table? Yup, Lil Timothee Chalamet. But the funny thing is, nobody noticed him. I checked. Why? It's because when Tim is dressed like a normal 23-year-old, he looks like a normal 23-year-old. Almost indiscernible from someone else. But it's just that little extra mile he goes when his appearance slaps you real hard across the tuchus. Smart, elegant choices in your style could change everything. Next, his hair seems to morph him into a completely different person. Check out Timmy with his normal haircut. He looks like a runway model, right? Okay, now look at him when he has much shorter hair. He looks completely different. Also, notice the width of his neck, and notice how his neck is much wider here. It's actually the width of his entire head. That little change makes a world of a difference. Does this mean you should grow your hair long and try to look exactly like Timothy? No. But it does show you how small changes make a huge difference in terms of your attractiveness. What Tim does is find the things that he actually likes wearing and invests in those clothes. The great thing about fashion these days is you could find amazing stuff without having to pay a lot. If you're an adult like me, you could buy one new great piece each month and slowly build your wardrobe into something outstanding. If you're younger and on a budget, check out stores like Zara, H&M, and look at the sales racks at Urban Outfitter and Nordstrom. I have a style hint for you. People are starting to wear jeans less and less. Start looking at chinos and dress pants and pair them with a turtleneck, sweater, a rugby shirt, or a really well-made t-shirt. But the one thing I do recommend you invest in is your haircut. I'm serious when I say you should probably be paying at least $100 for your haircut. Some of you might think this is ridiculous, and why don't you just get a $50 haircut when it'll almost look exactly the same? Yes, almost. It's that little extra oomph in a meal or a song or a look that brings you to the next level. It gives it that je ne sais quoi that Timmy has. Trust me, if you spend as much time investing in yourself as you did your gaming chair, people will notice a difference when talking to you. Okay, now that I got the superficial part of this analysis out of the way, let's move into his personality and why girls are going crazy for him. When we watch him in movies, award shows, or on social media, he seems impossibly cool. But looks can be deceiving. Take just a half a step further and you'll find Timothy is quite the opposite. Watch this clip of him on The Tonight Show and see what I mean.
You know, I had one rule for myself when I came out here, and it wasn't to go, oh my God, I'm doing this for the first time. Yeah. And that is exactly what I'm doing. So, but you're doing great.
He's nervous, awkward, self-conscious, playful, and it's great. He comes off charming instead of pitiful. Why? If you come to this channel often, you know how I teach that charm is about balance. Rude and polite, graceful and messy. Here, Tim is part suave and part kid-like. If he was just one or the other, it wouldn't work. Check out this interview he did with Emma Stone.
And we don't have to talk about that because I guess it's not so much movies, it's more like mental health and stuff. But I remember reading something about that where you said that when you were younger, you dealt with that kind of stuff. And truly, I'm not even just saying this is around when I'm getting manic.
Notice how he gets so nervous in front of Emma that he even has to consciously force himself to calm down and break his mania. But that's not the kicker of why Timothee Chalamet is so charming. It's not only the balance he has, there's one big thing that I believe attributes to not only his insane levels of talent and success, but also his attractiveness. It's his passion for acting. Going through all of Timothee's interviews, it is abundantly clear that he is absolutely in love with the art of acting.
In my humble opinion, at 17 years old and as a very, very young artist, what I've learned is that the best thing you can do is just fail, is to really just fall flat on your face. So if anything, if you get rejected, if you don't even get an honorable mention or any of that crap, that's more juice for your art, that's more inspiration. You know, it's awesome to be on a great TV show and all this stuff, but the best is like when I can get up in front of a class like today and, you know, do a monologue or something that kind of just falls flat and nobody really gets and the comedy doesn't hit. That's like where it's like, where you can go back to the drawing room and you're really humbled and you can really figure stuff out again.
It's oozing out of him every time he speaks. He not only cares about acting itself, but acting as his career. Notice how all of the movies he's been in have been important stories, not just a plotless blockbuster with no heart. He mentions that he wants to take on roles that are relatable to young people, where he can express what others might be going through in their own lives. I believe this is what Lily Rose sees in Timothee, as she likely sees it in her own father as well, them both being dramatic actors. When a person sees how passionate you are about something, anything, it is one of the most attractive, charming qualities you could possess. Remember, I don't teach surface level social skills that emulate a charming person. Instead, I want to get you to the core of what makes a person absolutely magnetic and help you dive in. When you find something you're passionate about, something that you could talk about all day with someone, something you could spend 24/7 working on improving yourself in, something that excites you and is what you think about when you're eating, commuting, sleeping, this is a fire inside of you that not only turns others on, but also inspires them to find their own passion in life. If you liked this video and are passionate about improving your own relationship skills and meeting amazing people in your life, hit the subscribe button now and leave a comment for who you'd like me to cover next. I want to just let you know how appreciative I am that you're watching this video, and I hope to see you tomorrow for a new one.
If you live under a rock and have never seen this sculpted, immaculate face before, it belongs to Timothee Chalamet, who has arguably become the internet's crown prince seemingly overnight. But Chalamet was acting successfully for years before becoming a Hollywood it boy. So what happened to make Instagram explode every time one of his floopy curls dropped just so into his green eyes? Why does Twitter analyze an obscure image of the contents of his pantry like it's a reveal into his soul? If you're one of those people who just doesn't get it, this video might explain what the hype is all about. Born in Manhattan, New York on December 27, 1995, this Capricorn King made his first on-screen appearance in an episode of Law & Order by the time he was 13. Within the next few years, he secured roles on shows such as Royal Pains and Homeland. By 19, fresh out of graduating from the prestigious program at LaGuardia High School of Performing Arts, he made his debut in Hollywood blockbusters like Chris Nolan's Interstellar and Jason Reitman's Men, Women, and Children. All the while, Chalamet continued his education, attending Columbia University where he studied cultural anthropology for a year, before transferring to New York University's Gallatin School of Individualized Study in order to begin pursuing his acting career. Timothee's true breakout occurred when he appeared in back-to-back appearances of Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird and Luca Guadagnino's Call Me By Your Name. His performance was praised in both of these indie Oscar-nominated darlings, as well as his hair, as it should be. In Call Me By Your Name, for which he learned Italian, Chalamet took piano and guitar lessons, along with self-testing the logistics of the now iconic Peach scene. His performance as Elio garnered him a slew of awards, including Academy Award and Golden Globe nominations for Best Actor. He became the youngest man to be nominated for an Oscar for Best Actor in 80 years. Since then, he has starred in several more Oscar-nominated films, including 2018's Beautiful Boy alongside Steve Carell, and Greta Gerwig's 2019 adaptation of Little Women. Beyond epic sagas and longing soft boy glances, there has been huge amounts of hype for his roles as the leading man in films like The King and the upcoming Dune. So what is that je ne sais quoi so many of us have found magnetizing that makes us type out his name into every search engine to access the full archive of embarrassing interviews and high school skits available for our digital pleasure? I have done this. Timothee Chalamet is not one of the first internet boyfriends, but he is perhaps one of the youngest. According to The Cut, here are some of the qualifications it takes to be an internet boyfriend. Enlightened masculinity. An aura of authenticity. Idealized vulnerability. Enough mystery. Enough charm. And of course, He must be incredibly memeable and gifable. But according to The Cut, internet boyfriends are also old enough that a teenager will find him refreshingly mature, and a grown-up can lust after him with impunity. In 2018, The Guardian described the burgeoning momentum propelling the star forward as Chalamania, and posed the question, Chalamet is inspiring rabid hysteria reminiscent of DiCaprio's Leo-mania, at the height of his Titanic fame. But will he be as big? They also note that while popularity comes and goes, the term mania only sticks true to cultural phenomena, dating back past DiCaprio to Beatlemania in the 1960s. And while in general people on the internet love to compare him to young Leo, there have also been comparisons to even more mystical icons, like James Dean and River Phoenix. If there's anything Timothee has also cultivated besides a massive following, it is a trusted brand of non-toxic masculinity for a new generation. Writer Ann T. Donahue coined the phrase "heartthrob" to describe a new breed of male celebrities that were being celebrated for their creativity, authenticity, and most of all, for breaking heteronormative representations of machismo. Timothee shot to stardom being a beloved object of the queer and female gaze, and he continuously showcases that it's bolder and braver to embrace duality than to conform to a set masculine expectation, for which there's perhaps no clearer outlet than his fashion. In one of his most iconic gender-bending photo shoots with co-star Saoirse Ronan, he was sweet and demure and ruffles and pearls, while she rocked bold suits with strong lines. The shoot paid homage to the fact that in Little Women, the two also shared wardrobe pieces to play up their characters' masculine, feminine fluidity and dynamic. Moreover, Timmy starts a conversation nearly every time he hits the red carpet, with the internet uniting to unpack every gleam of his eye that matches the gleam of his glittery Louis Vuitton hoodie and sparkling harness, or bib, as he liked to call it. And maybe it's as simple as the fact that Timothee lets you love him for being completely himself. He allows himself to be excited, weird, nervous, constantly acknowledging how starstruck he is by his own experience. For example, telling Ryan Seacrest on the Golden Globes red carpet, "We've never met, but dude, I grew up with you. You were beamed into my living room every Monday night for American Idol." He is a product of his generation, so the internet is rife with embarrassing videos from his youth. But Timothee has no shame. He alluded to his viral high school project, a rap about statistics, during his speech at Graduate Together, America Honors the high school class of 2020, thanking the teacher who assigned it to him. Not to mention his other side, though he has no bad angles, which was reserved for smoldering and brooding looks, high art and haute couture that make you know he is interesting, and maybe he is just as pretentious as his name sounds. Frank Ocean can ask Timmy not to quote his own songs to him, and Virgil Abloh can put matching looks together for him and his mom. That is just cool. His persona is a work of art. He's completely relatable, yet wholly unattainable. Chalamet is not only Gen Z's crown prince, he's also an ambassador for what they have to bring to the table. Creativity, tolerance, passion, and a will to change the world. And they're going to do it by celebrating love and diversity, championing vulnerability, and rocking some really killer Insta-worthy looks.
This week on Analyzing Celebrity Faces, we're taking a look at the highly requested American actor Timothee Chalamet. He's always been a fan favorite, but personally, I don't really see the appeal. In some photos, he looks like a washed-up drug dealer, and in others, he is Hollywood's latest heartthrob. From certain angles, there are visible asymmetries, and in others, he looks like a Greek statue. The best way to describe him is polarizing. Unlike a professional model who's chosen because they look good in every angle and style, Timothee is neither here nor there with his appearance. His face is a lot like Cillian Murphy's. It's masculine but with a lot of feminine features. Although many people on the internet consider this to be one of Timothee's worst looks, I think it's great at highlighting his aesthetic. Let's start with the jaw. Again, it's a bit much. His bigonial width is so large that the jaw inclines outwards from the chin, giving him a very boxy, masculine appearance. This is the type of jaw that's only achievable by very large implants for the average person, the type that your surgeon would make you sign a waiver for to not be liable. It creates a sharp change in the jaw's contour that increases chin protuberance, like an Egyptian burial mask. Had he had a wider chin, the jaw width would suit him much better by being less noticeable. Using some proportion tests by Bommert's 2016 paper, it's clear to see what I mean by the jaw contour. Since the jaw stretches out towards the sides, it doesn't incline as high up on the face as it should to be parallel to his mid-face proportion. It's still closer than most people, but it's one of the reasons why I think he could do with a less wide and masculine jaw. On the other hand, some argue that this is what makes his appearance unique and high fashion. An overemphasis in a certain feature is something modeling loves to tokenize, whether it be celebrating the model with vitiligo, the one that's albino, the one that has alopecia, or the one that has an overly large jaw. It's something that makes him stand out, and that's what makes his face so memorable. The thing with memorable faces is that we tend to attribute just one look to them. So when you see photos of Timothee like this, with his hairline pulled back and the roundness of his forehead visible, it contrasts with the image we have burned into our brains of this. That's why his face, and so many other memorable ones like it, are polarizing. It's a love-hate relationship where we're fixated on a facial ideal, and anything that makes him look even slightly different makes you think twice about it. Moving up the face, let's talk about his facial width. It's about 1-to-1 with his jaw, which is unsurprising given what I've just said. The bigonial to bizygomatic ratio produces a very square shape, and it's one of the reasons why he can pull off the long-haired mid-part so well. Although it's yet to be covered on the channel, when men try to pull off more feminine hairstyles, it needs to contrast with their face shape to be attractive. The difference between Jason Momoa and appearing on the next episode of To Catch a Predator is not the hair, but the facial masculinity or lack thereof. Mind you, Lord Farquaad had a very masculine face, which was paired with a feminine haircut, but he ended up losing to an ogre and a talking donkey. This was a deliberate choice by the DreamWorks animators to poke fun at this concept of facial contrast. Timothee has a very masculine facial width to height ratio because his face is short and incredibly wide. As numerous studies have found, and I've covered on the channel ad hominem, we base our initial perceptions on the vertical height of the midface, as we're more sensitive to that. This facial width makes his face undeniably masculine, but his features are strikingly feminine. Short-haired Timothee didn't get as much attention as his long-haired variant for this very reason. That's because a face shape as square as his needs a softer, rounder hairstyle to add contrast and intrigue. Instead, a short, boyish haircut makes him look like the next Why Don't We band member. The longer hair adds maturity through contrast. In his earlier photos, he had a very low, juvenile hairline, which is why adding to it with a youthful haircut doesn't set him apart or boost his appeal. Older Timothee has a more recessed hairline that makes his forehead seem rounder. He actually looks more attractive now than before because his face is in better facial thirds. By having the hairline go further back, the upper third is vertically lengthened to be more proportionate with the midface and jaw, whereas earlier on, his face just seemed very short. Now, if you want to see more bald-headed Timothee and other facial morphs, be sure to check out the Instagram page at Koo Studio. Before we move on, I want to talk about the eyes. So, to me, there's something that's instantly noticeable about them. They have a negative canthal tilt. When you measure the lateral tilt, it comes to be about 4 degrees or so, which isn't a whole lot, but since his eyes are narrow and wide, it becomes a striking feature of the face. Imagine rotating a circular object versus a rectangular one. You notice a slight tilt in the rectangular shape a lot more easily than the circular because of rotational symmetry. This is what gives Timothee his laid-back, feminine look. His eyes aren't downturned and aggressive like most men with this type of over-the-top jaw structure, so it sets him apart as an androgynous pretty boy who's also goofy and relatable. One of Timothee's best features are actually his brow bone and eyebrows. Thick, dark eyebrows on pale skin is a rare but attractive contrast. Just look at Cara Delevingne. His are more neutrally inclined, but that purposefully suits the tilt of his eyes. He has a prominent brow bone, but without the thick supraorbital muscles you see on masculine men. This gives him a masculine bone structure while retaining a feminine contour, which is exactly what modeling standards look for in their female and androgynous models. The last point that I want to touch upon are his cheekbones. It's very clear to see that he has high cheekbones. Instead, I want to highlight just how proportionate and outward they are on his face. In Powell et al.'s 1984 paper, they found from thousands of 3D tomographs that the most prominent part of the cheek is parallel to a line drawn between the outer eye corner and the nose wing. In Timothy's case, this point of intersection is very far from his eyes, which is why his cheekbones stick out so prominently. With most faces that I've seen, this intersection is a lot closer to the eye, and so the cheekbones project forwards instead of outwards. So when we say that someone has obscured or prominent cheekbones, it's not that their cheekbones are physically larger, but rather they're positioned more laterally outwards from the eyes themselves. The OG curve is a term that's most commonly used in architecture to describe an S-shaped feature. In facial anatomy, it's an imaginary line that goes down the cheek, best seen from a 3/4 view. For most people, it's not a visible feature, and many incorrectly misinterpret it as having hollow cheeks. In his case, his wide bigonial width and prominent cheekbones creates a very noticeable contour, as it's all jaw underneath, which makes the face leaner by stretching the existing soft tissue over a greater area. Now, previously I've hinted at why Timothy is a great casting choice in his latest historical drama, The King. Without spoiling all of it, it's basically Shakespeare's Henry IV, if you've covered that in high school English. Timothy plays the young Prince Hal, who enjoys living in the lap of luxury without taking on any of the physical responsibility that comes with it. When you see him, his face and his physical frame, it's hardly an intimidating sight. Compare that with his antagonist, Hotspur, who's portrayed by Tom Glynn-Carney, and you start to get a sense of why the casting directors chose who they did. Glynn-Carney has deep eyes, very low set brow bone, and a tight masculine haircut. These stars are deliberately cast to tell the story through more than one medium. It makes you think, who's gonna win? The unintimidating Timothy, who's more brain than brawn, or knuckle-headed Tom, who's more brawn than brain? A lot of thought gets put into the casting choice by casting directors because of how much facial features influence our perception of the characters and thus the overall story. In writing the script for this video, my opinion of Timothy's looks have changed just a little bit. 2020 Timothy has a refined sophistication and maturity that looks great in certain situations and lighting, but he doesn't have the most proportionate model tier face, which is why it doesn't work in all situations. And so that brings us to a close. If you want us to analyze your face like the celebrities, then you can always order a Koo's facial report at our website. If you want to see more facial morphs and proportions, visit the Instagram page at Koo Studio. And as always, leave down below who you want us to see next. Hopefully someone of color for some diversity. It's kind of getting a bit okay. Timothy won out by an overwhelming demand this week, so I do listen to the comments.
Timothee Chalamet is one of the most hyped young actors we've had in Hollywood for a very long time. Right now, it seems he can do nothing wrong, as every film he steps into gets critically acclaimed and huge box office numbers. And don't forget, he was the youngest Best Actor nominee in 80 years. However, there is one thing I've noticed change in him as of recent, and while it goes quite unnoticed and may not be harming his career yet, I can definitely see it lead that way if he isn't careful. To understand my point here, we have to look at Timothee Chalamet's rise to fame, along with Jennifer Lawrence's rise, as they definitely had quite similar types of rises in Hollywood. When we look at Jennifer Lawrence's meteoric rise in 2013, it's easy to see why the public loved her. Her awkwardness at the Oscars, the way she fangirled about meeting celebrities, and her genuine nervousness while being interviewed and on talk shows.
Do I look like a new girl, bro?
I thought about it. The public saw themselves in Jennifer Lawrence and felt as though we had one of us up there in the bright lights winning Oscars, and she was a direct reflection of how we would feel in this exciting yet intimidating environment.
Woke up and tried on the dress and it fit, thank God, and then I took a shower and I don't know what I was, that's what I did, and then I got my hair and makeup done. And then I came to the Oscars. I'm sorry, I did a shot before I...
And it was basically the same effect with Timothee Chalamet. He could barely keep a straight face while on Jimmy Kimmel and continued to fan out over basically everything and everyone in Hollywood. It charmed us all and made the public fall in love with him for all the same reasons we did with Jennifer Lawrence. But as the peak hype for Timothee Chalamet reached an insane height in 2020 with the release of Dune, we noticed a change in Timothee Chalamet, and I think I know why. Which leads me back to Jennifer Lawrence. Her lack of filter, which was charming in the beginning of her career, became her downfall when she started making comments like this.
See yourself for the Oscars
You can't live your
night.
whole life behind your phone, bro.
Huh?
You're just not gonna, we can't do that. You gotta live in the now.
Oh, sorry.
You know?
How do you see yourself for the Oscar night? And how was
We're at the
working-
Golden Globes. If you put your phone down, you'd know that.
We were filming in Hawaii, and there were sacred rocks, and they were, I don't know, they were ancestors, who knows? Oh my God, they were so good for butt itching. Just be like,
And what everyone used to love about her became a target for them to throw their hate towards her, which is what society does time and time again. We build someone up as the hope and beam of bright light until we decide enough's enough and we tear them down. This type of career trajectory, I think, scares Timothee Chalamet. And that's why when his career got to an enormous stage and he was clearly one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, he made the choice to start putting on a face when in public. That charming, lack of filter, nervous Timothee Chalamet turned into a more poker-faced, professional, diplomatic star like every other major celebrity in Hollywood. And this is understandable. In no way am I attacking him for this. However, why I point this out is because I think there is a smarter choice out there which wouldn't harm his career. Whereas with this choice of approach to media and interviews, I believe would come back to harm him, as people may lose touch with him and stop viewing him as one of us, but rather just as any other celebrity, which is inevitable to a point. However, when we analyze other careers of celebrities who had the same effect, we can see the better approaches to take when it comes to controlling your image. Take Billie Eilish, for example. She had the same effect in the music industry. She was quirky, young, and new, and all her fans saw her as just one of them, just a normal girl who somehow made it on the big stage. However, she never became diplomatic. She always stayed herself, but rather turned down a lot of her media appearances. In 2019, it seemed as if every time you refresh your YouTube page, there was a new Billie Eilish interview. Towards late 2020, you notice she stopped doing as many media appearances, which is definitely for damage control. But what it allowed her to do is remain her common, everyday kind of girl self in those limited interviews, but not overdo it to the point where the public are going to find things and tear you down. I think that is a smarter approach, whereas with Timothee Chalamet, I think he's already somewhat dropped his media appearances, but he still comes across as a lot more stiff and diplomatic in these limited interviews. It could also be the case that he's just become jaded to the whole celebrity thing. However, I hope that isn't the case, as we all know the dangers of becoming jaded to fame. And I think if Timothee Chalamet always remembers that his success is built off the back of his fans' support and love for him, he'll remain the Hollywood favorite he is today. I think Anne Hathaway put it best when she said this.
I woke up one day and I said, when people come up to you and they want to tell you they love you, or that they like you, or that they've watched your movie 3,000 times, or they want a selfie, or they want a hug, or they want a picture, or they want a picture for their daughter, all they are saying is, thanks. It's beautiful. And there's a very good chance, you know, you'll just leave the interaction and you can just focus on the next thing. There's a very good chance they might remember that forever.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want this memory to be one that makes them feel badly about themselves, or do you want it to be one that makes them feel great? Because the reason you won the lottery is because they bought a ticket.
I hope you guys liked this video, and I'll see you on the next one.
Timothee Chalamet, with his undeniable talent and captivating presence, has become one of Hollywood's most sought-after young actors. From his breakthrough role in Call Me By Your Name to his subsequent remarkable performances, Chalamet has proven himself a force to be reckoned with in the film industry. In this video, we delve into the life and career of Timothee Chalamet, exploring the milestones, challenges, and triumphs that have shaped him into the acclaimed actor he is today. Born on December 27, 1995 in New York City, Timothee Chalamet was raised in a creative and artistic environment. His mother, a former Broadway dancer, and his father, a French-born editor, instilled in him a love for the arts from a young age. Chalamet's multicultural background with French and American heritage influenced his worldview and added depth to his performances. His admission into the Fiorello H. LaGuardia High School of Music, Art, and Performing Arts in his senior year of high school sparked his passion for acting at an early age. Following Claire Danes' recommendation, he enrolled in Columbia University in 2013 after graduating from high school. After a year, he moved to NYU Gallatin School of Individualized Study. Timothee Chalamet debuted as a child actor in several commercials. In 2008, he also starred in the 2 horror short films Sweet Tooth and Clown. He made his television debut in 2009 as murder victim Eric Foley in the Law & Order SVU episode Pledge. He then had a small part in the made-for-television movie Loving Leah. In 2011, he made his theatrical debut as the sexually inquisitive 12-year-old youngster Nicholas in the off-Broadway comedy about coming of age set in the 1970s, The Talls. The top theatrical reviewer of the New York Daily News commended him for his superb performance in the play. He was cast in 2 recurring parts in 2012. Finn Walden in the spy thriller series Homeland, and Luke in the drama series Royal Pains. He was nominated alongside the rest of the ensemble for the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by an Ensemble in a Drama Series. He made his big screen debut in the critically and financially unsuccessful drama movie Men, Women, and Children, which was directed by Jason Reitman. He gained praise for his performance as Sam's younger self in the comedy movie Worst Friends, which had a constrained theatrical run the same year. He played the younger Tom Cooper, the son of the central character played by Matthew McConaughey, in Christopher Nolan's hugely successful science fiction film Interstellar, which was his most significant part that year. The movie was a box office smash and garnered high marks from reviewers for the cast's outstanding work. He was one of the characters, 16-year-old Zach, in Andrew Draws Palermo's fantasy thriller 1 and 2 from 2015. When their mother becomes ill, Zach and his sister Eva learn they have magical talents. He played the younger Stephen Elliott, played by James Franco, in Pamela Romanowski's crime drama The Adderall Diaries later that year. He also played Charlie Cooper in the holiday comedy Love the Coopers. He made a comeback to the theater in February 2016, playing Jim Quinn in the autobiographical drama Prodigal Son at Manhattan Theater Club, which was chosen specifically for him by director and author John Patrick Shanley and producer Scott Rudin. His performance of a teenage Shanley, an outcast from the Bronx attending a prominent prep school in 1963 New Hampshire, received high praise from reviewers and resulted in several nominations and awards for him. In the indie film Miss Stevens from 2016, he co-starred with Lily Raby as the wayward student Billy. Stephen Holden of the New York Times compared him to James Dean and said that he had never seen a greater rendition of the pivotal monologue from Death of a Salesman. In the 2017 coming-of-age drama film Call Me By Your Name, he played Elio Perlman, a 17-year-old Italian kid in the 1980s who falls in love with his father's helper, Oliver. This was his breakout performance. His dedication to mastering Italian, the guitar, and the piano paid off, as he was nominated for a Best Actor prize at several renowned award ceremonies, including the Golden Globes and the Oscars. He got favorable reviews for his performances as Kyle Scheibel in Greta Gerwig's highly acclaimed solo directorial debut, Lady Bird, and Daniel Middleton in the movie Hot Summer Nights later in 2017. He co-starred with Christian Bale as soldier Philippe Desjardins in Scott Cooper's Hostiles that same year. In the drama film Beautiful Boy, which is based on David Sheff's memoir of the same name, he played methamphetamine-dependent youngster Nick Sheff. He also appeared in the Woody Allen movie A Rainy Day in New York, starring Selena Gomez, and he also portrayed Henry V of England in David Michaud's movie The King. In The French Dispatch, directed by Wes Anderson in 2021, Chalamet played a student revolutionary. In Denis Villeneuve's adaptation of the science fiction book Dune, which had its world debut at the 78th Venice International Film Festival, Chalamet played the lead role of Paul Atreides. In addition to several new and Oscar-nominated actors joining the ensemble, Timothee Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Zendaya, Charlotte Rampling, and Javier Bardem are also expected to reprise their roles from their previous movies. 3 films will make up Denis Villeneuve's Dune adaptation, and Dune Part 3 is even more significant to the influential sci-fi story than the upcoming Dune Part 2. It is not yet known if the third Dune film will likewise be an adaptation of the first novel in the series, or if it will be a Messiah adaptation. Timothee Chalamet, who plays Paul Atreides, may look back on this time in the Dune series as a turning point in his acting career. On November 3rd, 2023, Dune Part 2 will have its formal theatrical debut. In Adam McKay's Netflix ensemble comedy film Don't Look Up, Chalamet is a skater punk. In the road movie Bones and All, in which he co-starred with Taylor Russell as cannibal drifters, Chalamet and Guadagnino were reunited. Timothée Chalamet and Lourdes Leon, the child of music legend Madonna, dated in 2013. She was a fellow student at his high school, and the two of them performed in the play Sweet Charity together. He seldom ever talks about the romantic side of his personal life while receiving a lot of media attention and public interest. In October 2017, following additional claims of sexual assault against Woody Allen in the wake of the #MeToo movement, he told the media that he would not take earnings from his next movie with the filmmaker. He became the most well-known male actor to publicly denounce Allen by saying he would contribute his salary to RAIN, the LGBT Center of New York, and the Time's Up movement against harassment and assault. Chalamet is a huge sports lover, and when he was younger, he wanted to play professional soccer. He has always been a fan of the AS Saint-Étienne French football team and the New York Knicks basketball team. Timothée Chalamet's meteoric rise in the film industry is a testament to his exceptional talent and dedication to his craft. From his early beginnings to his breakout role and subsequent success, Chalamet has proven himself to be a versatile actor capable of delivering captivating performances that leave a lasting impact. As he continues to evolve as an artist, his future endeavors promise to be equally exciting and promising. Join us in celebrating the remarkable journey of Timothée Chalamet, and stay tuned for more updates on his inspiring career. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to stay informed about the latest news and updates on your favorite actors and films.
Welcome to our channel, where we embark on an illuminating expedition into the lives of individuals who have carved their names in the annals of history. In today's video, we delve into the captivating biography of Timothée Chalamet, a rising star whose magnetic presence, raw talent, and diverse roles have captivated audiences worldwide. Join us as we unveil the extraordinary life of Timothée Chalamet. Born on December 27, 1995, in New York City, Timothée Chalamet was destined to become a creative force. His early exposure to the world of acting, combined with his upbringing in an artistic family, laid the foundation for his remarkable journey. Chalamet's ascent to stardom began with his breakout indie roles. His poignant performances in films like Call Me By Your Name and Lady Bird showcased his innate ability to embody characters with depth and vulnerability. Timothée Chalamet's swift transition to Hollywood was marked by his roles in high-profile films. His portrayal of iconic figures like King Henry V in The King, and Theodore Lawrence in Little Women, established his presence on the grand stage. Chalamet's performances are characterized by authenticity and emotional resonance. His masterful depiction of nuanced emotions, and his ability to convey the internal struggles of his characters have earned him critical acclaim. Timothée's artistic range knows no bounds. From historical dramas to contemporary tales, his willingness to embrace diverse narratives showcases his dedication to pushing his own artistic boundaries. Chalamet's meteoric rise has been marked by awards and accolades. His nominations for prestigious honors like the Academy Awards reflect the industry's recognition of his exceptional talent. Timothée's personal journey includes profound growth. His candid discussions about his experiences, combined with his involvement in philanthropic efforts, demonstrate his commitment to using his platform for positive change. Timothée Chalamet's impact reaches across continents. His distinct style, thoughtful approach to roles, and connection with fans have solidified his status as a cultural icon. Chalamet's journey continues its ascent, with upcoming projects promising to showcase his evolving artistry, his willingness to explore new realms, and experiment with his craft keeps audiences eagerly anticipating his next endeavor. As we conclude this enlightening expedition through the life of Timothée Chalamet, we're left in awe of his charisma, talent, and the profound impact he's made on the entertainment world. Thank you for joining us on this captivating journey through the biography of Timothée Chalamet. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories.
Timothée Chalamet broke so many hearts, even hearts of celebrities. Some of them admitted this during interviews. In this video we will show you that moments, but before start watching, click the like button and say in comments, what do you think about this guy? And now, enjoy the video.
The space program something you were interested in growing up?
I'll tell you what, though, we do have The King coming out with David Michaud.
Absolutely,
which is amazing.
I'm looking forward to that
Timothée Chalamet, and I love this.
You brought your daughter to the Globes. I met her backstage. I love her.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah.
She's so cute. Did she have fun at the Golden Globes?
Yes, of course. She met Timothée Chalamet.
Zendaya, you're always the busiest human being alive. You shot your part in Dune, I hear, which I could not be more excited about.
I'm excited too.
Timothée Chalamet is so talented.
Yeah, he's
what was
awesome.
he like?
He's wonderful. He's such a nice dude.
Yeah.
Like a really, really great guy. So I'm excited just as everyone else is.
And cool to be a part of Denis Villeneuve's like crazy vision.
Not a bad job at all.
Yeah.
Be careful. Timothée Chalamet. I mean, listen, Timothée Chalamet is just like amazing. But I think that's because he's so talented. I watched a movie of his the other day on the plane and I was like, oh my god, so talented. And I think it's just like, I think I was crushing on his talent.
This girl walks into the sea, she's gorgeous, and she's walking over and I'm like, here you go, bro, here you go, here we go. And she breezes right past me. Say, hello? And she goes over to Sam and she goes, oh my God, are you Timothée Chalamet? And he was like, yes. Yes, I am. And I will say,
not crazy. I mean,
come on.
I will say you're very, very bold to say you are a person who is French. Like, that's like, because then you're like moments away from the game being up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
True. I think Sam, no, he doesn't speak any French. That was the chat show stress of like, yeah, he's fluent in French.
He had to do that thing of, they're like, well, you must speak French being Timothée Chalamet. He's like, I'm not on vacation.
Yeah.
I'm on vacation right now.
Oui.
Timothée Chalamet puppet that went viral like a month ago. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's very creepy. It's on eBay for like $125,000 or something. Do you have a photo of that puppet? So, people are saying it looks a little creepy. Can we see it again? I just love it. Oh. So anyways, we bought the Timothée Chalamet puppet. Hello. I am the Timothée Chalamet puppet. He's not even French, Timothée
No, but he is. The puppet's French.
The puppet's French, yeah. This is him.
And it was nice doing this with the two of them because it was big. It was such a big film to take on. And Timmy and I had loads of scenes together this time as opposed to just like one awkward scene on a bed.
He's a little nicer to you in this go around.
If anything, I break his heart. So we had loads of fun. Everyone was really great, really good group of people. So.
Just got sent some mystery flowers. Hopefully they're from Timothée Chalamet.
On me. It'll be like, why'd you put her in it? She ruined it. She ruined everything.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Timmy.
Look at Timmy.
Photo of. Just show me. Explain this to me. So you're out to dinner with Kanye. Is that Timothée Chalamet and Kid Cudi?
Yes.
No.
What was this?
And that is really me. I'm not superimposed at all.
Treat for these people.
Yeah. I was like, this is chill. All right. Then Timothee Chalamet shows up, and I'm like, all right, also skinny. It's gonna be fine.
Timothee Chalamet, tell me, what's he like?
Beautiful.
He is very beautiful.
There isn't a shot where he doesn't look picture perfect. He's also an incredible performer, so that was great. And he's not just, you know, someone that looks perfect, but really does the world in terms of sharing a scene with them. So it was an experience.
Timothee Chalamet.
He's great. Timmy is great. What's lovely about the relationship with Timmy and I had on camera was that they have this kind of mischievous. He's a tutor, John Brooks is tutor, but ultimately there's a kind of, again, a fun and warmth. So we allowed all those different dynamics to imbue all of our friendships and relationships, and I hope to see them. So I think Florence.
No, I've not seen it yet. I want to see it though, because I have a weird kind of man crush on that boy, Timothy boy. I saw him in Call Me By Your Name. It's a bit like,
Interesting feeling.
I can feel every blood vessel like spider webbing through me. I feel like some kind of weird new superhero.
This is Timothee Chalamet, an actor whose performances in the coming-of-age dramas Lady Bird and Call Me By Your Name have catapulted him to stardom, especially in the ongoing Dune franchise, and the origin story for revered chocolatier Willy Wonka in Wonka.
May I present Willy Wonka's wild and wonderful wishy-washy Wonka Walker? Please don't make me say that again.
After supporting roles in a few short films, Timothy played recurring characters in 2 shows that are polar opposites from each other in terms of tone. There was Luke, an energetic, eager-to-please teenager in Royal Pains.
She's super rad. That surf lingo I've been trying to learn. Wait till you meet her.
And he turned in a nuanced, dramatic performance as Finn Walden, the rebellious son of the vice president in the 2nd season of Homeland.
I remember that I've killed another human being. I can't take it back.
Then, after playing Matthew McConaughey's character's son in Interstellar, he showed remarkable range in the 2016 drama Miss Stevens as Billy, a troubled student who goes on a field trip with his English teacher to participate in a state drama competition.
I'm $1 an hour, Willie. I tried 7 states. I couldn't raise it.
Then came 2017, and with it, Chalamania began to take hold when Timothy starred in 2 Best Picture nominees. There was Lady Bird, in which he played Kyle, an aloof love interest.
My name's Lady Bird.
It's weird you shake hands.
Yeah.
And the slow burn coming-of-age romance Call Me By Your Name, in which Timothy played the introspective Elio, who enters into a relationship with his father's research assistant.
It's not like I'm gonna tell anyone. You're not gonna be like in any trouble.
Timothy's performance earned him a well-deserved Oscar nomination and put him on the map more than ever as someone who could tackle any drama, like when he played a drug-addicted son in Beautiful Boy, or an immature King of England, Henry V, in The King. Or the charming Laurie, the boy next door who pines after a girl he can't have in Little Women.
I have loved you ever since I've known you, Joe. I couldn't help it.
In addition to joining the quirky, deadpan world of Wes Anderson as an idealistic revolutionary in 1960s France in The French Dispatch, he reunited with Call Me By Your Name director Luca Guadagnino for the gruesome cross-country romance Bones and All, and he plays Paul Atreides, a young prince destined to change the course of the universe in the Dune franchise. At such a young age, Timothee Chalamet has tackled multiple genres, worked with prolific auteurs, and garnered critical acclaim over and over again. From the evocative landscapes of Italy to the unforgiving dunes of Arrakis, his performances will only continue to capture the audience's imagination.
Timothee Chalamet was 9 years old when he made his first appearance in front of the camera for Disney Channel. His mother, a real estate agent, was American, while his father, a journalist and correspondent for Le Parisien, was French. His favorite memory was when he was 11, when his favorite club, AS Saint-Etienne, qualified for the Europa League. At 13, he was an extra in an episode of season 19 of the series Law & Order. It was his first real acting experience. By the age of 15, he had a YouTube channel where he showed off custom Xbox controllers that he made himself. At 16, he enrolled in LaGuardia High School, a public school specializing in the performing arts. At 17, he appeared in 8 episodes of Season 2 of the series Homeland. He played the son of the Vice President of the United States. At 18, Lil Timmy Tim, aka Timothee Chalamet, wrote and performed his first rap song for a statistics assignment. Rather than do it the traditional way, he decided to do it in video and music. He earned a D. At the age of 19, after several appearances in TV, movies, and series, and a brief stint in theater, Timothy made his film debut with Men, Women, and Children. The same year, he starred in Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. In an interview with Emma Stone, he confided that although he loved the film, he had cried for an hour on his father's arms on the way home. The reason? He thought he would get more on-screen time. At 22, he was recognized internationally for his role in Call Me By Your Name, which hit cinemas in early 2018.
It's a love story, it's a celebration of love. And actually what makes this movie so special is, I think, the lack of a violent oppressor or deterrent to this love that's so present in any other kind of love story. This is just a pure celebration of, like Army said, a special summer love.
This performance earned him a nomination in the Best Actor category at the 2018 Oscars. He was the 3rd youngest nominee in the ceremony's history and the first if we consider the last 80 years. He said in an interview that the Sundance Film Festival, which he attended that year, was the moment in his career where he realized his success. He added that it was the event where he was the most proud of himself. At the age of 23, Forbes added Chalamet to its list of talents 30 under 30 to watch. At the age of 24, while he began promoting his new film, My Beautiful Boy, he went on a French talk show. He confided that he loved shooting in French and with French directors, in particular François Ozon. To the camera, he called out to François Ozon, "Si tu m'entends," a call to which the French director immediately responded positively on his Twitter account, "Je t'ai entendu." At the same time, he decided to donate the money he made from his role in Woody Allen's A Rainy Day in New York to the associations Time's Up, the New York LGBTQ+ Center, and Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network because of the new accusations against the director. At 25, Timothee Chalamet received an email from Tom Cruise encouraging him to do his own stunts. At 26, he starred in the first part of Dune. He said it was the most ambitious film of his career, and the role boosted his confidence as an actor.
The biggest challenge was the length of time that we shot, because we shot the movie for, 5-6 months or something, and all over the world, in Jordan, Abu Dhabi, in Norway. So I've never been on something that long. And what I learned is that it's a marathon, not a sprint. You gotta pace yourself.
3 years later, he starred in part 2 of Dune, again directed by Denis Villeneuve, in which he played Paul Atreides alongside Zendaya.
I think it's not our first rodeo, and we have an incredible director that kind of, helps guide the scenes, and we're in such good hands and so well supported. But yeah.